Warning: the following podcast contains violent scenes that may be unsettling to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. The Illyrious Empire spans a continent. Thousands of miles of dry plains, highlands, and dust-swept roads, all under the eye of a single ruler. Its power comes not from gold or armies alone, but from the land itself. The Havana River runs like a lifeline through the heart of the empire, feeding crops, shaping cities, and sustaining millions. Without it, there is no empire, only dust and memory. At its center stands Nahibian, the imperial capital, a city of marble, trade, and ambition. Its streets are alive with voices from every corner of the realm, and its silence hides more than it reveals. This is a story of politics, power, and people caught in between. Welcome to Revelations of Khayee, an Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition campaign. Set snares, it's dexterity with a -1. So let's go ahead and roll that, man.
Besides that, the only thing that I would ask is
Yeah,
there anything for like the help action? Because what I would do is try to get the others involved and
yeah.
make.
Let's see here. I think it would make sense. You could ask Bazi and Yang Yi to help, because Yang Yi's a hunter.
Yes.
Bazi uh is one with nature. So, with that, I'll give you guys an automatic success. I think I'll go ahead and do that. Makes sense, right? One thing I want to point out though is when you all are setting this up, you obviously have to get by the opening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while you're setting it up, and I would say more like Amal, you're doing like, for lack of a better term, more of the legwork, right? Check the tautness of the
Yeah.
string, slowly kind of creeping along on your belly to put it across. You look down, for lack of a better term, this like walkway. And first thing you notice is you're looking at that string and you see the string goes and you're following it for like 10, I'd say, I don't know, about like, I don't know, man, about like 10 yards, maybe, right? And you see there's bells. So you were right, right? If they pull it, bells would go off, right? But when you're following it, you see that it leads to this other area. And you can tell that this area is not where the light that you all saw initially is coming from. It's like from an area to the right of that area, right? So imagine you're looking straight, leads to another area, and imagine that there's another path from that area that you can't see that goes to the right. That's where you kind of see some gentle light coming from, right? But you are able to make out what is in that open area like 10 yards in front of you. And you see like it looks like a huge mound. And you're having a hard time like distinguishing like a clear idea of what that mound is. But after your eyes get adjusted, you kind of believe it might be like bones or like remains that have kind of been thrown on top of each other. And while you're quietly, like I'm talking about like nervously setting this taunt string, you see that there's like shapes on it that are moving a little bit. You're not sure what it is, but they're leaving a little bit of shadows towards the right of this open area. But with that being said, you're able to build this tripwire, for lack of a better term, right? And you are able to set those things down that are on there. Go ahead, scene's on you guys.
Yeah. So after setting up the scene, or setting up the trap, Amal would kind of cautiously make his way back. Hey guys, just a heads up. There seems to be like a pile of bones back there. Um, just I think that these things or people have been at this for a little while, right? If not, at least they're quickly doing whatever they're doing back there. Um, but besides that, everything's all set up. It should work fine. Thank you guys for the help. Um, Bazi, Yangi, how do you guys feel about being up there on the front when they come through that and eliminating them as they come in?
I'm not opposed.
I'm ready.
I, I'm I'm gonna knock an arrow, right? I'll have some stuff ready. Cedric, I know right now, right, you didn't have what you needed, but I still feel like you have an important role to play in this, right? I don't know if you have any experience with it, but that dagger on your hip, right, can come in very handy.
I can use it.
I'm glad. But yeah, my thought is if any of them try to scatter past Bazi and Yang Yi, you can take care of them from the shadows if that's okay. You could sit with me, right? I'll cover you.
I shall be the final line of defense. Anything that gets past you, I will do my best to stop.
Amal takes a moment to really think about that. But he agrees ultimately, right? Kind of looks at you, puts a hand on your shoulder, he goes, "I understand. All right, let's make this happen. Can you pull the bells, the system to make it ring? Hopefully, Cedric."
Are you gonna pull it, Cedric?
Cedric, of course, is going to look at it and make sure that it's not trapped and, as
I
best
won't
that
make
he
you
can.
roll. I won't make you roll it. I assume that Amal has
Yeah.
hand waved it. Yeah.
But yes, once everyone is set and Amal gives him the signal, Cedric will pull it.
For my DM sanity, there's the entrance. Where are you and Yangi and Bazi? Are you going to be on each side of the entrance, or like to where they can't see you once it's pulled and they just come rushing forward?
That was
That
definitely my
makes
thought. So
Yeah.
kind of like a coup de grace moment.
Yeah, yeah. Is that what you're going to do, Yangi? You're cool with that?
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
And then Cedric and Amal are going to stand to like the left, kind of closer to the wall by the entrance. Okay, cool. You pull it, and you guys, there's like a weird, when you pull it, Amal, like it takes a second for, not Amal, excuse me, Cedric, when you pull it, you can feel like the slackness, and then there's some tension, and then you pull it. You hear this, when you give it a little tug, you hear it, like the bells are start like shaking a little bit. And you runch back. And you're standing there, Yangi, with your sword out, I assume, right? And Bazi with your spear. And there's this uncomfortable silence. And then you kind of, you're hearing the screaming in the background distantly, like not coming from that area, right? But and then all of a sudden you just hear, and you just hear all of a sudden like footsteps. Like it sounds like plodding coming your direction. And it's like bare feet hitting like dirt. And then all of a sudden, out of your surprise, because it happened quicker than you thought, you see like a quick mass. Because mind you, it's still like the only illumination is this candle, right? That's like sitting there that Cedric had, kind of like hit this wire and fall over, and you hear like this inhuman, like high pitched squealing, like almost like of pain, and you guys realize that there are three figures that have fallen. But for a second, especially you, Bazi and Yangi, that you were like up close and personal with some of them. For a second, you're like, are these the same as the two before? But you realize there's almost like these little demonic looking creatures that are withering. That like their skin looks almost diseased in a weird way, almost like plague ridden. And one of them is like trying to push himself up. They have these, you can see they have these metal spikes, tacks that are stuck in their body as they're trying to like sit up. I'm going to have everyone roll initiative. Let's go ahead and roll initiative again, folks. All right, so my thing's got a 1, but they're going to not be able to do an action right now, but I'll just say for the next round if they got a 1. Yangi, what did you get?
Got a 7.
7, all right. Cedric?
Cedric's rolling with a 10.
All right, Amal, what did you get?
A 2.
Oh, shit. And then what did you get, Bazi?
a 5.
All right, so their action is taken. You're lucky because they had a 1. As they trip over. Amal, what are you doing, sir?
1 is the best, actually.
Yeah, 1 is the best, yeah. But they lost it because you guys' trap, so very good. Your trap worked, guys. And it caused 1 hit point of damage to all of them, too, so that's very good also.
Maul, if there's anyone that looks different to him, like any bigger one or anything like that, he'll take aim at that. Otherwise, if not, he will loose an arrow at the first one he sees that falls through.
Okay, we'll do the ladder, so go ahead and shoot for me, please.
Sounds good. 11.
And what armor class does that hit? 9, right?
Yes.
I believe, yep, that's a hit.
Awesome.
Go ahead and roll damage for me.
3.
Awesome. So Yangi and Bozzy, you guys are standing there ready to pounce, and Yangi, over your shoulder comes this arrow, whack, and you see like it hits this one in the throat that's like trying to get up, and you see for a second it like its arm spaz, and then it falls, and one of the spikes goes in its eye, like it's like double damage, and you see its like leg it starts twitching, and you kind of see this puddle like coming out from underneath it, and you for a second are almost like it's like losing control of its like bladder from the death throes that it's feeling there. All right, next we will go with Bazi. What are you gonna do?
Is there one within range of a spear?
Oh yeah, I mean you're like 3 feet from them. You know, it's like right up close and personal for you two.
He's going to take a stab at the closest one.
All right, go ahead and roll.
Well, his roll was a 10.
So that's a AC of you hit an AC of 10, right? If your doc goes
Yes.
20. Yep. All right,
Yes.
that's a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
All right. Damage is 1d4 plus 1.
2. Yep.
Oh, yeah, two hit points.
So you take the spear and you just run the spear in the temple of this creature while it's trying to attempt to get up from this trap, and you feel this soft crunch, and you feel the resistance give, and you feel the momentum that you pushed it in. Actually, it comes out the other side, and you hear the sharp twang of the tip of your spear hitting one of those metal spikes, like almost like the metal on metal for a little bit. You see like a little spark come, but you really, as soon as you do it, you see the body in front of you just goes limp. Next,
Good.
we will go with Yangi.
Does Yangi have any of them nearby?
Oh yeah, I mean like they're like you guys are like
They're all over.
yeah, I mean they're right in front because you guys are standing on both sides of the entrance. They
Yeah.
trip, they're like right in front of you guys. So there's one
All right.
that's like trying to get up right now.
All right. So let's see if Yangi can kill him.
Oh,
That's a crit. How do
Jesus,
crits
fucking
work?
well, crits work where I believe you get double damage, right? If I don't, let's look this up. We should know.
Yeah,
I mean-
I think it's double damage, and then you add a die if it has like deadly or something.
You roll the appropriate damage dice twice for the attack and only count damage modifiers for strength, magic, and I assume for efficiency once.
So go ahead and
So I'll
roll it.
just. All right, 11.
So, you know, this arrow came, hit the one in the throat, its head fell forward, the spike went in it. You see Bozzy takes another and spears it in the temple, and you see the head of the spear come out, and you caught the little thing, and then as the third one tries to get up, you just come up from your lower left, and it's almost like this total all your body weight, I mean, you're still feeling, I would even almost say you're being fueled by your rejection from the Crimson Harvest, right? And you just put all of your anger into that sword swing. And you guys all see this, like it comes up, completely decapitates the head. You see the head of this creature like spins in the air a little bit, and it's weird because, especially Cedric, you notice this more so, and Amal, the candle gives a shadow, so like almost puts this huge shadow that's spinning on the wall of this cave, and it hits the side of the cave and plops and rolls a little bit in the dirt, and the blood is spurting from this neck, and it's getting on you at the moment, Yangi. You feel it hitting your legs and feel it kind of hitting the lower part of your torso. You guys each get 12 experience points from that, so go ahead and make sure you all four get 12 experience points. I would say give yourselves also additional, let's say give yourselves additional 100 experience points for that, because I felt that was a well-formulated plan of action there, and it went off seamless there, and I think you guys did a good compromise between the mission and what needed to be done, so give you guys, like I said, an extra 100 points of experience there. Okay, now, you know what I'm going to ask. What are you feeling right now, Yangi, since you're the one who kind of got that moment? You're still in the moment, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yangi's, Yangi right now has only had the good parts of combat, essentially.
Yeah.
The ones when you beat the shit out of your enemy and kill him and you're at the top of the world.
Yeah.
So he feels vindicated in a way. It's like, yeah, I should have been in the Crimson Harvest. I would have been great at it. I would have been the best. I mean, it's obvious, right?
Totally obvious. Yeah.
Got into his first fight and dominated.
Yeah.
That's how he feels. Like, yeah, I was training hard, and obviously, I was right, and they were wrong.
And what about you, Bozzy? I mean, does being druid and your outlook, how's he processing the fact that he just like took. I mean, who knows what this is, right? But does he have any qualms about taking life, or no?
Nah, it's all part of nature.
Part of nature, survival of the fittest, great circle of life. Finally, Amal. I mean, not finally, but Amal, seeing that this was kind of your plan you formulated, and you see it went off seamlessly like that, right? And you did also end one of their lives. What are you thinking about right now?
Amal feels like he feels excited that his plan worked, right?
Hmm.
Oftentimes things go wrong, right? It's nice to see something go right, but also he sees it seemed like Bazi executed perfectly, Cedric executed his part perfectly. It seemed that Yang Yi took his part with extreme prejudice towards this thing, right? Yeah, he went above and beyond and took like pleasure and enjoyment, it seemed like, right, from his perspective. So it seems like everything went off, but he also is labeling Yang Yi as like sort of this deadly weapon in his eyes, and to be
Yeah,
very careful where you point the tip of the spear.
I mean, like, in all reality, too, right? Like, I mean, I remember my dad telling me this when I was a kid, dude, all the time. Like, perception's reality, right? And it's like, right now, that's how you perceive him, right? Like, Yangi's a killing machine. He's like this skilled warrior who's like going out there, and you guys at this stage don't really know each other's I mean, and then imagine what everyone's perception of like Cedric is, seeing all this weird shit, you know what I mean? That like that's been going on, and it's kind of crazy how that works. So, and then finally, Cedric, having like you kind of had like the bird's eye view of this action, right? Like took place. And I know you discussed and mentioned earlier like the issues with feeling inadequate in power, but I mean, I would counter, and I'm not like it's not my role to argue with what Cedric feels or whatever, but I would counter that like you provided valuable intel, right? That kind of would lead to like, okay, let's look at this from a tactical perspective, right? Rather than rushing in. How do you feel about witnessing this happen, like as smoothly as it did?
Cedric he is of the mind that this is what happens when cooler heads prevail.
Ah,
When intelligence is used over emotions, there's not always, but a better outcome always happens. And he's sitting there looking at what would happen, and he's like, yeah, we made the right decision to do this now, to use the element of surprise, to use what we had. If we had waited for him to regain his power, who knows what the outcome would have been. So therefore, he still feels inadequate, but he's sitting there with this, yes. And he's looking at this group, especially he's looking at Yang Yi, who almost seemed to revel in revel in the killing, where he's like, okay, this is his power. And, Amal, who put this plan together. Of course, Cedric in the back of his mind is like, that's because he's spent so much time with me. He's seen, to use your intelligence.
yeah.
He's not saying it out loud, but of course, that's what he's thinking. And of course, with Bazi, doing his thing, and he's thinking to himself during his rise of power, even though he's weak now, these people will provide him security, safety as he gains more power. And
Yeah.
sooner or later, they will all come to him seeking the power that he has. And
Cool. So this plan has been forth. Scenes on you guys.
Uh, Excellent job, guys. I don't know what to say. Yeah, Yang Yi, you okay?
I've never been better, my friend. Never better.
I can see that. I can see that. Uh, Man. Well, Amal kind of starts making his way over, starts regathering his supplies, kind of pulling the pittance out of the thing, out of the people, taking his rope, wrapping it up. I gotta say, we work pretty well as a team, and I like working with you guys.
that was an excellent plan, Amal. Yang Yi, Bazi, that was excellent execution of his plan. And then Cedric is going to just step aside and he's going to really start looking at one of these creatures, not touching, but studying this thing.
They look to be around like 3 to 4 feet in height. They are humanoid looking, but you notice that like well, there's one discerning thing, right? Not that it's completely similar, but your ears and their ears have a little bit of pointiness to them, right? But they look more like something that comes from the bowels of someone's nightmares, right? Like the completely crimson eyes that are like the dull crimson, the teeth that are sharp and razor-like and needle-like, the nose that doesn't exist, that just looks to be the nose that you would see on skeletons, right? The long nails are like 2 inches in length, but the weird thing that kind of stands out is you see on the ground, scattered on the ground, are like these knives, these daggers that they had, right? So they have like the propensity to imitate, man. You look at their feet and their toes, there's like 4 toes on them, right? So I would say, and I don't want to say how your character feels or any characters, but this is completely disheartening because, not disheartening, excuse me, but just disturbing because they don't look like anything that you ever came across. They look like things of nightmares, of superstitions, right? Yangi mentioned superstitions, right? These are like things that it's like you'd almost imagine like if the things that your women who put you to bed or who took care of you told you about to keep you in line and keep you well behaved, if they actually came to light, right? And it's almost this, I'd say, a little spark of fear and even a primordial fear of like man being afraid to leave the cave kind of fear. Like, oh, this is what can exist. This isn't rebellious armies like, that was just put down, right? This isn't starvation. This isn't cutthroat thieves. This is something completely and utterly alien at this time. So you have this passageway now that goes about 10 yards in front of you. Again, it's hard to make out. I assume Cedric's holding the candle, right? That's giving illumination into the passageway. What are you guys going to choose to do?
As Amal is kind of gathering his supplies back and, we're conversing with each other, he's going to take a moment, if there's any silences, to listen deep down further to see if there's more of that screeching or more of the screams off and on, right? To see if that's faded. Just to see if there's not another wave or anything like that coming at us.
Yeah, you just hear screams that are on and off, but when you're focusing, and now that you're kind of like gathering your stuff by the entrance and you're able to, I'd say for lack of a better term, not have to be like on your belly crawling, so hyper focused on what your task was at hand, you feel a slight breeze because it seems like there might be a little bit of I don't want to say a wind tunnel, but a little bit of like a draft that's coming from the entrance down, this tunnel, and then it's kind of might be coming back or whatever. And you catch 2 weird smells. You catch one of decay, and the decay smell reminds you of the plague, or not the plague, excuse me, the drought that you had to deal with at a young age, right? Where people were starving to death and the bodies, right? And having to burn the bodies and what came with that. And you smell, though, the decay of like rot, but also you smell faintly like a smoke smell and the smell a little bit of like cooking meat or what you would think is cooking meat.
After kind of getting that wave, Amal will turn to whoever's around, which I believe is everyone at the moment.
Yeah.
And he kind of brings this voice down. He goes, I'm gonna go look ahead. All right. I smell smoke and still hear the occasional screaming. I'm gonna go make sure that there's nothing else coming after us.
Yeah, for sure.
By all means.
Amal's gonna kind of take a moment to put away his stuff on his back, right? He's gonna take out his, I believe, dagger, his scimitar, and kind of ride along the walls and try and move silently as part of his, his thief skills.
So you start going along this tunnel's edge. As you are going through this walkway, the 10 yards, you feel your hands along the edge of it, and it's oddly like smooth, where like the cave entrance that you came from, like the texture was porous and rocky, which I would say the smoothness probably leads to your original hypothesis that like, hey, this was added on, modified, right? You go the 10 yards and you get to where this opening is that you saw from a distance. And the smell of rot and decay just overwhelms you. You see this area, it looks to be about 20 feet in circumference, or maybe 20, 15 feet. But the thing is, the most of the floor space is just the ragged remnants of like, and of people, and the thing that you are starting to pick out is a couple things. Like, there's a moment where you're looking and you're thinking, okay, I see this room. I see these just remains that are piled, and they're about like 8, 9, 10 feet high. Just they've been stacked and stacked and stacked. There's a moment where you're looking at it and you see a face staring back at you, and you see these dry sockets in it, and you realize that like the face has been removed, but like the tendons and the visceral fat and the sinews that were around the skull have like mummified kind of, but there's maggots that are like still eating away at that flesh that is still on there. And you realize when you're looking at, like, this looks to be the size of like a child's head, and you fight the reflex, like the reflex to gag, and you see that really there's only like 3 feet that you can walk to go either left or right. But if you're to go right, that's where you see the light coming from. There's like another archway that's like 10 feet to the right. Like, you have to go around this mass of like, you see rats running through there. That's where Cedric's little rat, family probably has been living and feeding so well. And from now that you're closer, you hear the screaming and the moaning and the begging and the pleading, and you hear like this whoosh, whoosh. It sounds like something sharp is like hitting wood. And then you smell that smell of smoke and like meat that's cooking from within it, and you see these shadows that are coming across from this entryway onto this mass of remains. And you hear fuck, and then just screaming and still moaning and begging and pleading. You hear actually some words being said at this stage that you're making out like, please, no, or just like sobbing. What are you doing?
He takes a moment right after like having that initial shock, right? Swallowing that reflex, right? He hears the noises, peeks around these walls, right? Are they like just stacks and rows of bodies?
They're actually just piled. It's like they've just been piling they've just been piling shit, tossing them in here,
Yeah, so I'm gonna Amal was gonna keep going at least to the opening of that archway that's only a short distance away.
Yeah.
Right, and take a distance or peek in the shadows. When he does this, he's gonna swap out his scimitar again and bring out his short bow. If those sound pretty a little bit further away.
It's hard to tell because of the echoing, but I'll let you do that. Yep. So
No
you
problem.
are slowly going like along the other end, and you guys lose sight of him, by the way, you three. And you go up to the entranceway and you look to your right because that's how you see into there.
Mhm.
And this room is well lit by torches. You see the back of something. You're really having a hard time processing this, right? Because what you're seeing is so horrific right now that in all honesty, like, you feel like a little bit of your grips of your sanity, like trying to tell you just to turn and run and drop everything you're doing. But you see this hulking figure, and you see it's like raising this arm, and the flesh of this arm and the back of this head looks to be similar to what you saw on the ground, but it's bigger, right? And you see like it has like this axe or a hatchet, and you see it coming down, and you can't see what's coming down on, but all of a sudden you see an arm roll on this wooden table, like to the left, and you hear this screaming. A man just like screaming and blood. You see blood pouring on this wooden table, and you can tell when you look on the floor that blood has just been everywhere. And you see the hand is like moving spastically because it's just been amputated from this arm. And you realize for a second, as you look past the arm that rolled onto the table, you see that there are figures that are sitting along the other end of the wall, all chained together, huddling, naked, and whining and screaming. Hey, thanks for listening. Producing this podcast takes time, energy, and real cost, from hosting fees to editing and artwork. If you enjoy what we do and want to help us keep creating, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a small pledge makes a big difference in covering expenses and letting us focus on bringing you more stories, more episodes, and better quality. You can find the link in the show notes. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Also, feel free to join our Discord, which is also listed in the show notes.